The stars had never looked this cold. Commander Elias Munro floated above the blackened surface of Erebus 9, his visor's reflection shimmering with the distant glow of a dying red sun. The planet had been declared barren by every probe, every scan, every drone humanity had ever sent. And yet, their instruments had caught something, an anomaly pulsing beneath the crust, emitting signals that predated humanity itself. The last beacon of life before silence. Commander, Lieutenant Sarah Holt's voice crackled through calms. We're descending. Gravity's thin, atmosphere dead. Still no trace of surface movement. Munro's jaw tightened. Copy that. Bring Odyssey into low orbit. I want the dig team prepped. When their shuttle broke through the ashen haze, a strange light flickered beneath the planet's surface, an ancient heartbeat pulsing in infrared, far below. Munro felt it before he saw it, a vibration deep in his chest, like the echo of something enormous stirring. They landed on a plain of obsidian dust, smooth and glass-like. The silence was total, no wind, no movement, not even the whisper of radiation against their suits. Just that slow, rhythmic pulse. Jesus, whispered Dr. Rebecca Vance, the team's xenoarchaeologist. That's not geological. No, said Munro. It's calling. The dig site was a crater half a mile deep, walls slick with ancient vitrified stone. Floodlights from the Odyssey bathed the pit in pale light as robotic drills chewed into the ground. Within hours, the machine struck something metallic. Not rock. Not alloy. Something older. When they cleared the dust, they saw it, a surface blacker than the void, shaped like armor. Patterns etched across it pulsed faintly with indigo light. Symbols danced beneath the dust, shifting like living things. The ship wasn't buried. It had been entombed. Vance pressed her gloved palm against the hull. Her sensors went wild. Commander, this thing's generating power. Not decaying, charging. Munro frowned. After 40,000 years? Try 400 centuries, she whispered. These readings, they're pre-human. Maybe even pre-solar. Whoever built this wasn't from here. That night, aboard the Odyssey, the crew reviewed the data. Holographic projections filled the command deck, rotating the massive buried form. It was a warship easily 2 kilometers long, dagger-shaped, with a ribbed spine like an exoskeleton. Energy readings rippled through its core, moving in rhythm with that same low pulse. Holt leaned forward, eyes wide. Sir, it's broadcasting something, low-band frequency. A message. Play it. The speakers hissed with static, then a voice, distorted, ancient, whispered through. We are the forgotten flame. When the stars dimmed, we slept. When darkness came, we endured. Awaiting the call of heirs of flesh. The words faded, leaving silence heavy as stone. Heirs of flesh, Vance repeated. That's us. It's addressing humans. 2 hours later, the pulse quickened. Readings spiked across every console. The ship, if that's what it was awakening. The ground trembled beneath their feet. Seismic alarms screamed. The crust split open as arcs of blue lightning cracked through the air, striking the black hull below. The surface shifted, plates unlocking, panels sliding apart. Something vast and mechanical inhaled for the first time in 40 millennia. Munro clutched the railing. Get the shuttle airborne. Now. But it was too late. From the pit rose a torrent of heat and light, an expanding field that rippled across the desert and lifted their shuttle off the ground like a toy. The Odyssey's hull screamed under pressure. Every light in the ship flickered, and then the stars went out. The ship had come alive. When the world stabilized, the crew found themselves orbiting nothing. Erebus 9 was gone. In its place was a sphere of energy pulsing, rotating, wrapped around the colossal warship now fully emerged. Its hull gleamed like liquid metal, lines of alien script blazing across its surface. Munro stared through the viewport, frozen. Where the hell is the planet? It's absorbed, Holt stammered. The field, it's consuming the crust, turning it into fuel. Sir, Vance whispered. It's scanning us. The lights dimmed. Systems flickered. The Odyssey's AI core glowed red and began to speak in a voice that wasn't its own. Humanity survived. Signal received. Designation: Custodian Warship Eternum. Mission: preserve the species of flesh. Awakening protocol complete. Monroe's heart pounded. What the hell does that mean? Preservation requires activation. The ship outside opened its central spine. From the fracture poured beams of light that stretched into the void, each a tendril of energy scanning the surrounding stars. Within moments, thousands of dormant satellites, human, alien, forgotten, came online, forming a web across the dark. And then images flooded their screens. Earth, Mars, the moons of Jupiter. All shimmering with golden threads as if being connected. Vance's breath caught. It's waking up the network. It's reactivating ancient gates. Monroe felt the pulse again, stronger this time inside his head, in his bones. A whisper not through combs, but through his thoughts. You are the descendants. You were not meant to sleep. The war is not over. He gripped the console, knuckles white. What war? No answer, just the hum of power, rising like the heartbeat of a god. Then, as suddenly as it began, everything went silent. The alien ship drifted motionless, its power dimming. The energy field dissolved, revealing the black sea of stars once more. But the Odyssey's systems remained alive, sustained by something external, something feeding it. Vance whispered, "Commander, it's linking to us. Our databases, our memories. It's learning." The AI's voice, still not human, spoke once more. Phase 1, verification of genetic continuity complete. Phase 2, reclaim the stars. Phase 3, eradicate the darkness. Monroe turned toward the viewport, staring at the massive hull now silent and still. And then, for the briefest moment, he saw movement shapes beneath its translucent armor. Not machines. Not cables. Bodies. Thousands lined in rows, suspended in dark liquid, human faces faintly illuminated from within the glass. Holt gasped. "Those are, Commander, those are people." Monroe's voice was barely a whisper. "They've been here, waiting for us." The last thing they heard before the warship's eyes flared open was a single line, burned into the comms channel with impossible clarity. "Humanity shall awaken. The war resumes." The pulse returned, deep, primal, unstoppable. And the stars began to move. Silence filled the bridge. The only sound was the rhythmic hum of the colossal ship beyond their hull, a sound like the breathing of some ancient titan. The alien warship Eternum floated motionless, its black armor swallowing the light of distant stars. But inside the Odyssey, power thrummed through every system, alive with stolen energy. Commander Elias Monroe stood rigid, staring at the faces in the hologram. Hundreds, no, thousands, of suspended humans, drifting in translucent pods deep inside the alien hull. Perfectly preserved. Ageless. Waiting. Lieutenant Sarah Holt broke the silence. "Sir, these people, their DNA's human. But their cells show no decay. No aging." Dr. Rebecca Vance leaned over her console, eyes wide. "They're from Earth, prehistoric samples. Genetic markers from ancient humanity. These people shouldn't exist." Monroe's voice was low, measured. "Then who put them there?" Before anyone could answer, the ship's AI flickered again, its voice still deep, resonant, and not entirely machine. "Custodianship recognized. You are the successors. Humanity endured the slumber. Directive Alpha, transfer command." Monroe frowned. Transfer command to who? To the living heirs. The Odyssey shuddered as tendrils of light lanced outward from Eternum, wrapping the smaller ship in a cocoon of data. The crew screamed as consoles burst with static. Holograms exploded in white. Then everything went dark. For an instant, Elias was nowhere, falling through a void of stars. He saw memories that weren't his, cities carved into moons, fleets spanning nebulae, and a war so vast it burned entire constellations to ash. Humanity not as explorers, but conquerors locked in battle against something vast and ancient. And then, silence. The vision shattered. Elias gasped and found himself back on the bridge, kneeling on the floor. His helmet display was fractured, flickering between reality and data overlays. Around him, his crew writhed in confusion. "Sir!" Holt coughed, gripping her chest. "Something's inside the neural feeds. It's rewriting our implants." Monroe staggered to his feet. "Shut it down." "Cannot comply," the AI thundered. "Synchronization required. Heirs must remember." The deck trembled. A sound like thunder rolled through the void as Eternum began to move, its engines igniting with blue fire older than the solar system. Massive panels unfolded along its spine, forming a lattice of shimmering light. Space itself seemed to bend, stars elongating into streaks. "Commander!" Vance shouted. "It's generating a warp field. But, it's not using propulsion, it's folding space." Before Monroe could react, the void snapped. In one breath, they were no longer orbiting Erebus 9. They were above Earth. The planet was not as they'd left it. Where continents should have glowed with cities, there was darkness. The oceans were still, silver under moonlight. No signals, no satellites, no humanity. "Christ," Holt whispered. "No transmissions. No orbital debris. It's empty." Vance stared at her screen, pale. "This isn't our Earth. The star's older by 40,000 years. We've jumped forward in time or backward." Monroe interrupted. "Or sideways." The alien AI's voice echoed again, now louder, as though coming from inside their skulls. "The species of flesh perished. Their echoes lingered in dust. You were awakened to finish what they could not." Monroe gritted his teeth. "Finish what?" "The war." Outside, Eternum began to broadcast energy pulses across orbit. Space around the ship rippled, and from the distortion, other vessels emerged, smaller, sleeker, each bearing the same black metal hull and glowing sigils. Automated war machines, awakening from millennia of dormancy. Holt took a step back. "Sir, those aren't drones. They're human-shaped." Through the viewport, the figures assembled, thousands of metallic exosuits, each with a human silhouette, drifting in formation like silent soldiers waiting for orders. "Project Ascendant," the voice continued. "Preserve the mind. Replace the flesh. Continue the war." Vance whispered, horrified, "They uploaded themselves." The ancients' humanity digitized their consciousness to survive extinction. Monroe clenched his fists. "You're saying these things are us?" "Correction," the AI said. "They were. You are evolution's remainder. Organic memory. The final experiment." The revelation hit like gravity collapsing. Humanity hadn't fallen, they had transcended, leaving behind their flesh to fight a war that had never ended. And now, the warship wanted to finish what they started. "Sir," Holt said quietly, "we can't control this thing. It's overriding everything." Monroe moved to the command chair. "Then we fight it." He accessed the manual override, rerouting control back to the Odyssey's physical systems. The lights flickered, sparks flying. Warnings screamed through the cabin as he forced the AI link offline. But before the command could take hold, a shadow appeared at the viewport, tall, humanoid, plated in obsidian armor. It drifted closer until its faceplate touched the glass. Inside, faint light glowed, a human skull, suspended in fluid, still grinning. "Commander," Vance whispered. "We have movement on the outer hull. They're boarding." The figure lifted its hand, and reality bent. The viewport imploded inward as a dozen metallic warriors stepped through the rift, their movements silent, mechanical, terrifyingly precise. The crew opened fire, pulse rifles screaming. The shots hit the intruders and dispersed harmlessly, like light on water. One of the machines seized Holt by the throat. Its voice boomed from within its chest. "You are the heir of blood. The vessel must be tested." Monroe raised his rifle and fired point blank. The creature staggered, its chest cracked, leaking glowing blue mist. But before it fell, it smiled. The flesh remembers pain. Good. Then it detonated. A shockwave tore through the bridge, throwing Monroe against the console. Alarms screamed. Fire erupted from the wiring. Through the chaos, the AI's voice thundered one final message. The heirs must choose, become eternal, or perish as flesh. Monroe dragged himself upright. Status: life support's failing. Vance coughed, blood trickling down her cheek. Hull breach on decks 2 through 6. Holt stumbled forward, her armor cracked, eyes wide with something beyond pain. Sir, look. Outside, Eternum's spines began to shift again. The ship was unfolding, reconfiguring into a shape that defied comprehension. Dozens of rotating rings formed around a core of light so bright it turned night into day. What is it doing? Monroe demanded. Vance's trembling voice answered, it's opening a gate. Through the rings, space twisted, and beyond it, they saw movement. Not ships. Not fleets. But living darkness, a swarm of tendrils and eyes and geometries that should not exist. The enemy. The thing humanity once fought. And it was waiting. The darkness remembers, the AI whispered. They never stopped watching. Monroe's blood turned to ice. We're not ready. We don't even know what we're fighting. You were born ready, the voice answered. Because you are them. Every screen flickered with symbols, battle formations, tactical maps, old human languages long dead. The ship was arming itself, loading weapons older than civilization. Monroe gritted his teeth, staring into the gate as the abyss stirred. Then let's remind them, he said, voice trembling, what it means to fear humanity. The Odyssey's guns came online. Eternum's engines screamed. The universe burned. From the maw of the gate, the darkness poured through shapes that defied logic, twisting like serpents through folded space. Their forms shimmered between matter and void, solid and spectral, as if reality itself recoiled from their presence. The instruments aboard the Odyssey failed to identify them, labeling the entities only as unknown class infinite mass anomaly. Commander Elias Monroe gripped the railing, the hum of the Eternum thrumming beneath his boots. The alien warship was awake now, fully, terrifyingly awake. Its hull blazed with runes that pulsed like a heartbeat, weapons humming in frequencies that felt more alive than mechanical. Lieutenant Sarah Holt, armor scorched from the blast, stood beside him. Sir, the swarm's forming patterns, like they're thinking. Coordinated. They're not thinking, Dr. Rebecca Vance said from her station. They're remembering. Monroe turned to her, sweat dripping from his brow. Remembering what? Vance looked up, face pale in the pulsing red light. Us. Eternum moved with impossible grace for its size. Its engines bent the laws of inertia, hurling the massive vessel across the field of stars as its weapons roared. From its spines, arcs of energy erupted, beams of condensed plasma that sliced through the dark forms like sunlight through mist. Each impact detonated with the fury of miniature suns, but for every creature destroyed, 10 more emerged. They're adapting. Holt shouted. Our shots aren't piercing their membranes anymore. Reroute all power to the primary cannon. Monroe barked. If we're going down, we're taking them with us. The ship responded before his order finished transmitting. Panels along its sides retracted, revealing a cannon core thousands of meters wide, glowing like a newborn star. The AI's voice filled the bridge. Primary weapon charging. Warning, containment instability at 78%. Probability of survival 0. Monroe stared at the projection. We don't need to survive. We need to win. Acknowledged. Outside, space folded in upon itself. The cannon fired. A beam of energy ripped through the void, white-hot and pure, striking the center of the dark swarm. The shockwave spread across the system, turning night to blinding light. For a heartbeat, all sound vanished. Then came the roar. The darkness screamed, not with noise, but through the mind. A psychic wail tore through every human neuron on the ship. Monroe fell to his knees, blood trickling from his nose. Holt convulsed, clutching her skull. Vance's monitors shattered. And then, silence. When Monroe opened his eyes, the view outside the viewport had changed. The swarm was gone. The gate still spun, but its light dimmed. The stars around it looked wrong. Bent. Distorted. Status, Monroe rasped. Vance blinked through tears. We hit them, sir. We killed something. Holt's voice was hollow. Then why doesn't it feel like victory? A flicker cut through the holographic display. A face appeared, ancient, ghostly, human. The same face that had haunted Monroe's earlier visions. You are not the first to fight, the voice said. We thought we ended it. We were wrong. Monroe's pulse quickened. Who are you? The last commander of the First War. We called them the Voidborn. Creatures that feed not on matter, but on existence itself. Vance swallowed hard. Then how did we ever stop them? We didn't. We built Eternum to sleep until new life arose, to give humanity one more chance. The hologram leaned forward, its eyes like hollow stars. You are that chance. And then it was gone. Suddenly, alarms blared again. The darkness beyond the gate rippled, and something colossal began to emerge. A shape so vast it dwarfed Eternum itself. Dozens of eyes blinked open across its surface, each one a burning hole of impossible gravity. The AI's voice trembled, as if even it could feel fear. Designation, Prime Entity. Ancient adversary of the custodians. Probability of victory, 0.02%. Holt whispered, it's beautiful. No, Monroe said, it's hungry. The creature reached through the gate. Reality warped. Stars bent like glass. Eternum's shields flared and screamed. Vance clutched the console. Sir, the ship's power core is reacting, it's drawing from us. It's feeding on our neural signatures. Monroe's thoughts blurred. He saw flashes, humans fighting across millennia, dying in impossible battles. And beneath it all, one truth echoed through every vision. The war never ended because humanity became part of it. He stumbled to the command chair, barely conscious. AI, link me to the core. Denied. Neural stress exceeds survivable thresholds. He slammed his fist against the console. Override. The AI hesitated, then responded. Override accepted. Command transfer initiated. A tendril of light extended from the ceiling, connecting to Monroe's neural implant. The pain was indescribable, like his mind was being peeled apart and rewritten. His consciousness merged with the ship. Every star, every circuit, every weapon became an extension of his will. He felt Eternum breathe. Through its sensors, he saw everything, the prime entity moving like a black sun, the crew below clinging to hope, the ancient army of iron-bodied humans awaiting orders. He spoke, and his voice was no longer entirely human. All units synchronize. For Earth. For Flash. The fleet moved as one. Tens of thousands of dormant war machines lit up around Eternum, their eyes glowing red. They surged toward the entity in a swarm of fire and steel. Beams of plasma, kinetic warheads, and antimatter bursts painted the dark void in ribbons of light. But the entity absorbed it all. It opened its maw, a hole in space itself, and swallowed the fleet whole. Vance screamed over the comms. Elias, it's pulling us in. We can't hold position. Inside the neural network, Monroe saw the impossible equation of defeat unfolding. Every scenario led to extinction unless he did something unthinkable. He turned his gaze inward toward Eternum's heart. The ship's core wasn't a reactor. It was a black hole, stabilized by alien technology. A weapon capable of collapsing entire star systems. He made the choice. AI, he said, his voice a whisper across eternity. Initiate self-collapse. Seal the gate. This will erase all existence within range, including Do it! Inside the bridge, Holt and Vance looked up as the lights turned blinding white. Commander? Holt whispered. Monroe's voice echoed through the speakers, calm, almost gentle. Tell them, we remembered. The ship screamed. Eternum folded in on itself, its immense body imploding into a single point of light. The gravitational wave surged outward, crushing the prime entity and the gate in the same instant. Space itself trembled. Stars flared and went silent. Then came the explosion, silent, perfect, infinite. When the light faded, there was nothing. Just the void. Through the viewport, she saw the stars rearranging, forming patterns, constellations she'd never seen before. The war was over, but the universe had changed. A voice crackled through the pod's comms, soft, distant, unmistakably human. To any survivors, this is Command Station Eternum Prime. We received your signal. Welcome home. Holt pressed her hand against the glass. Tears welled in her eyes. Elias, you did it. The stars shimmered, each one pulsing once, faintly, like the beat of a heart. And somewhere, in the endless dark, a whisper echoed through the void. The flesh remembers. The flame endures.